everyone, and welcome back to the English Paper Podcast, where we talk slowly, clearly, and naturally so you can use English in your real life without fear, without stress, and without feeling shy.
Yes, hello everyone. I am Emma, and I am very happy to be here again because today we are talking about one of my favorite topics in the whole world, which is eating at a restaurant. Because food and English together make life much better.
That is very true, Emma. And today's episode is very special because we are not only talking about food, but we are also talking about how you can use your English step by step when you go to a restaurant, even if your English is simple and not perfect.
Exactly, Alex, because many people think they need very advanced English to go to a restaurant, but the truth is you only need some basic sentences, some confidence, and a small smile, and that is already enough, haha.
So in this first part of the episode, we will talk about the moment you arrive at the restaurant, how you speak to the waiter, how you ask for a table, and how you feel inside your mind when you are trying to speak English in a real place.
Yes, because that moment is very important and also very scary for many learners because your heart is beating fast, your hands feel a little cold, and your brain suddenly forgets all the English you learned at home.
Haha, yes, that happens to everyone, even to people who speak English very well, so please don't feel bad if that happens to you.
So let us imagine a real situation now, where you walk into a restaurant, maybe with your friends or maybe alone, and a waiter comes to you with a polite smile and says, "Hello, welcome," and now it is your turn to speak.
At this moment, you don't need a long sentence, and you don't need difficult words, because you can simply say something like, "Hello, a table for two, please," and that sentence is very powerful and very useful.
Yes, and if you are alone, you can say, "A table for one, please," and you can say it slowly, clearly, and calmly, and the waiter will understand you, even if your accent is not perfect.
And sometimes the waiter may ask you a question like, "Do you have a reservation?" And when you hear this question, you don't need to panic, haha, because you can answer very simply.
Yes, you can say, "Yes, I have a reservation," or "No, I don't have a reservation," and that is completely fine, and you don't need to explain your whole life story.
Exactly, because restaurants are busy places, and simple English is actually better and clearer in these situations.
After that, the waiter will take you to your table, and you may hear sentences like, "Please follow me," or "Please have a seat," and it is very good to listen carefully and connect these sentences with the actions.
And when you sit down, you can say "thank you" with a smile, because being polite is also a part of good English communication, and it makes the conversation warm and friendly.
Yes, and now comes another interesting moment, because the waiter may give you the menu and say something like, "Here is the menu," and you can reply very naturally by saying, "Thank you very much," or simply, "Thank you."
At this point, you don't need to speak a lot, and that is also important for learners to understand, because silence is okay, and reading the menu quietly is completely normal.
But inside your head, you may already be practicing English, thinking, "How will I order food? What if I say something wrong?" And then you start smiling to yourself. Haha.
Yes, and that is a good sign, because it means you are learning, you are trying, and you are using English in a real-life situation, which is the best classroom in the world.
So, in this first part, we want you to remember one very important thing, which is that using English at a restaurant is not about being perfect, but it is about being clear, polite, and confident, even if your sentences are short.
That's right, Emma. And in the next part, we will talk about how to order food, how to ask questions about the menu, and how to say what you like and what you don't like, without fear and with a little laugh.
Yes, so stay with us, keep listening to English Paper, and don't worry because your English is already better than you think.
In the first part, we talked about entering the restaurant, asking for a table, sitting down comfortably, and calming your heart when English suddenly feels very difficult.
Yes, Alex. And now we are sitting at the table, the menu is in our hands, and our brain is slowly waking up again, thinking, okay, maybe my English is not so bad after all.
Exactly. And this is the moment where many learners feel both excited and nervous, because now they know they have to speak again, and this time they have to talk about food, which is fun, but also a little scary.
Yes, because you want to order the right food and you also want the waiter to understand you clearly. So you start reading the menu very carefully, sometimes reading the same sentence again and again.
And that is completely normal because menus often have new words, long food names, and sometimes even words you have never seen before in your English book.
So let us talk about something very important here, which is that you do not need to understand every single word on the menu to order food successfully. And this is a big relief for many learners.
Yes, because when the waiter comes back and asks, "Are you ready to order?" you don't need to panic, and you don't need to say something complicated.
You can simply say, yes, I am ready, or if you need more time, you can politely say, I need a few more minutes, please. And that sentence is very useful and very natural.
And the waiter will usually smile and say something like, "No problem," and walk away. And at that moment, you feel a little proud because you just used English correctly in a real situation.
Yes, that small success gives you confidence, and now when the waiter comes back again, you feel more ready and more relaxed.
So now let us imagine the waiter is standing next to your table with a pen and a small notebook, looking at you politely, and this is your moment to order.
And you can start very simply by saying, I would like the chicken curry, please, or I would like the vegetable pasta, please. And that sentence works almost everywhere in the world.
Yes, and if you want to be even simpler, you can say, "Can I have the chicken curry, please?" And that is also very natural and very friendly.
And sometimes you may not know how to pronounce the food name, and that is okay, because you can point at the menu and say, I would like this one, please.
Haha, yes. Pointing is also a language, and waiters understand that very well.
Now, another important part of ordering food is asking questions, because maybe you want to know what is inside the food or how spicy it is.
For example, you can ask, "Is this dish spicy?" Or, "Does this have chicken or fish?" And you don't need long grammar to ask these questions.
Yes, and if you are vegetarian, you can say, I am vegetarian, or I don't eat meat, and that simple sentence clearly explains your situation.
And the waiter may answer with simple words too, like, "Yes, it is spicy," or "No, it is not spicy." So you just need to listen calmly.
Now, let us talk about drinks, because ordering drinks is also a very common and important part of restaurant English.
Yes, the waiter may ask, "What would you like to drink?" And you can answer with something like, "I would like a glass of water, please," or "Can I have an orange juice, please?"
And if you don't want a drink at that moment, you can politely say, just water is fine, or no drink for now, thank you, and that sounds very natural.
Sometimes the waiter may ask another question, like still or sparkling water. And if you don't understand, it is completely okay to ask again by saying, "Sorry, can you repeat that, please?"
Yeah, asking people to repeat is not rude at all, and it is actually a very smart way to learn English in real life.
Haha, yes, exactly. And slowly, sentence by sentence, order by order, you realize that English at a restaurant is not so difficult anymore.
And at the end of ordering, the waiter may say, is that all? And you can reply, yes, that's all, thank you. Or if you want something more, you can add it calmly.
So in this second part, we want you to remember that ordering food in English is about being clear, polite, and relaxed. And mistakes are completely okay. And if you listen to the first two parts, you are already doing great because you have entered the restaurant, ordered your food, and now you are sitting comfortably at the table waiting for your meal to arrive.
Yes, Alex, and this is usually the most relaxing moment because the hard part is over. Your English already worked, and now you can take a deep breath and maybe even laugh a little inside your mind.
Exactly. And when the food arrives, the waiter may say something like, "Here is your order," or "Enjoy your meal." And this is a very nice and polite moment.
And you can reply very simply by saying thank you or thank you very much. And that small sentence shows good manners and good communication.
Now let us talk about something very useful, which is asking for extra things while you are eating, because this happens very often in restaurants.
Yes, maybe you want more water, more rice, or some sauce, and you don't need long English to ask for these things.
You can say, "Can I have some more water, please?" Or, "Could I get some extra sauce, please?" And these sentences are very polite and very common.
And if you need something like a spoon, a fork, or a napkin, you can say, "Excuse me, can I have a spoon, please?" And that sounds very natural.
Sometimes the waiter may come to your table and ask, "Is everything okay?" And this is a very important question to understand.
Yes, and if everything is good, you can smile and say, "Yes, everything is good," or "Yes, it's very delicious," and that makes the waiter happy too.
Yes, but if something is not right, you can still speak politely and calmly, because English is also about solving small problems.
For example, you can say, "Sorry, this is a little too spicy," or "I think this is not what I ordered," and you don't need to be afraid.
Most waiters are very helpful, and they will try to fix the problem, so speaking up politely is always a good thing.
Now, after eating, you may feel full, happy, and relaxed, and this is the moment when you start thinking about the bill.
Yes, and asking for the bill is also very easy in English, even if your level is basic.
You can say, "Can I have the bill, please?" Or, "Could we get the check, please?" And both sentences are correct.
And sometimes the waiter may ask, "Would you like to pay by cash or card?" And this is a very common question.
Yes, and you can answer simply by saying, "By card, please," or "I will pay by cash," and that is more than enough.
If you are with friends and want to pay separately, you can say, "Can we split the bill, please?" And that sentence is very useful to remember.
Now, let us talk about tipping, because in some countries, tipping is common, and in some countries it is not, so you can just follow what people usually do in that place.
Yes, and even if you are not sure, it is okay, because the most important thing is being polite and respectful.
After paying, the waiter may say, "Thank you," and you can reply warmly by saying, "Thank you," or "Thank you, have a nice day."
And when you leave the restaurant, you can say goodbye or have a good evening and walk out with confidence because you just used English in a real-life situation from start to finish.
Yes, and that is a big achievement, even if you made small mistakes, even if you laughed nervously, because you tried, and that is what matters most.
So in this final part, we want you to remember that English is not only something you study in a book, but something you use in daily life, step by step, meal by meal.
Exactly. And next time you go to a restaurant, we hope you remember this episode of English Paper. Smile, relax, and enjoy both the food and the English.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we hope it helped you feel more confident and comfortable using English at a restaurant.
Yes, thank you everyone. Keep practicing, keep smiling, and we will see you in the next episode of English Paper. Bye-bye!
Bye everyone, and enjoy your next meal.
Subscribe English Paper to learn English.